Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Welch's knows some things make zero sense, like why the algorithm knows your music tastes better than you do. But zero sugar and full flavor? We made that make sense with new Welch's Zero Sugar. All that passion fruit or tropical punch goodness and none of the sugar. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder Express.
Yay, and choo-choo.
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. All aboard the murder train, everybody.
Yeah.
My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Wissman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder Express. Like we say, 10 pounds of lightning it's like a half-pound bag this week because it's
in a Ziploc.
It's going to explode. It's wild. This is a crazy episode, let me tell you right now. Very quickly, before we get to that, off the top, thanks for everything you do for us. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com is where you get everything, all your merchandise and your tickets to live shows.
Yeah.
My goodness, we are going to be San Francisco Cobb's Comedy Club on August the 12th. We have 2 shows there that night. They're going to be different shows. So feel free to come to both. You're going to see 2 different stories. The next night we are in Sacramento. And then on September 10th, we're at the Pabst in Milwaukee.
Oh, shit.
Oh, we're doing a big thing here. It's our biggest venue we've ever played. So this will be, if we sell this out, our biggest show we've ever done. Bigger than Chicago, bigger than Minneapolis, bigger than Boston. And where is that? Milwaukee. That's right, Milwaukee. So come on, Milwaukee, represent. Get out there, beat the other cities. And if
you're a bunch of champions.
And if you went to the Chicago show, it's going to be a completely different show. So you can feel free to come to that also and see it again or a different show. See us again in a different show. So do that. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com, Patreon.com/Crime and Sports. Get all your bonus stuff there. You're going to get 4 new episodes every month. You're going to get crime and sports episodes. You're going to get small town murder episodes. You're going to get it all. You're going to get a shout out at the end of the show. You're going to get everything. This week on Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about John Rocker for the bonus episode.
Yeah.
Well, just a terrible guy, just a complete jerk who revels in being a complete jerk, but not in a good way. Not in like a rock star way, in a real, just
says some real dicky
He's
things.
just a dick. And then for Small Town Murders bonus, we're going to talk about a case from Skidmore, Missouri. It's the most requested case I've ever seen. Had it since the first week we've done the show. People have been requesting it. It's a crazy case of a guy who everyone hated in a town. He's murdered in front of many witnesses, upstanding citizens too. These aren't like, this isn't the underground meth culture or anything like
Quality
that.
people.
Nobody will say who did it because they all hate him so much. It's wonderful. We'll talk about that. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. That said, let's get it on, Jimmy. Let's sit back. Everyone out there, clear the lungs. Yeah. Let's go. Sit back wherever you are. Hopefully nowhere too public. Maybe in your car, in your house, that sort of thing. Scare the shit out of your dog. Whatever you have to do, sit back and shout, "Shut up
and give me murder."
All right. Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, shall we? What do you say?
We shall.
We are going to Utah this week. Oh, boy. Yeah, going to Utah. We are going to, it's Paragonah, Utah.
Where's Paragonah?
It's spelled like Paragonah, but it's said Paragonah, apparently. Okay. That's what I've been told here. Paragonah. It sounds like some sort of weird, sounds like a planet in Star Wars, doesn't it? Like the Paragonah galaxy. We have to go out there where the... Doesn't it, though? I don't know. It's a very...
It sounds Native American, too. Is that what it's inspired by? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's... it's as a lot of the things in this region are here.
Sure.
So the area we're going to go to, it's called Red Creek. And the nearest kind of town is Paragonah, but it's...
That feels racist.
Red Creek is... Well, no, it's actually a creek with red water. That's why...
Because of the Colorado.
It had, so they noticed there was red water, so they called it Red Creek. So there you go. Little Salt Lake Valley, this is apparently this area. The Red Creek was originally known by the early travelers on the Mormon Road as the second creek in the Little Salt Lake Valley, now known as the Paragonah Valley. And so there you go. That's kind of the history. This is a very rural area. Population here, we're talking 556.
Holy shit.
In this area, and it's a big area too. So these are vast. Yeah, there's a lot of vast areas like Fruitland, where we'll talk about. It's one of the places here, which is just this big open space with 400 people. It's
no fruit.
No, about like an hour and a half outside Salt Lake City. No fruit. There's nothing. There isn't even a tree or a shrub. It's just it's bleak.
Fruitland. Yeah.
Fruitland, the fruit, but I think it's something that's probably biblical, I would imagine, if it's because
I would hope
this area is quite Mormon. 72% Mormon, as a matter of fact. In this,
holy shit.
Out of the 556. And the demographics are very weird, and I'm not saying that's what it is, but they call to light a Warren Jeffs type of situation, because
I was just going to ask that,
There's a lot of people that are 65 and older, and a lot of people that are under 4 years of age. So that creeps me out a little bit, because normally I'm like, I'm sure that's just a weird thing. But here it could be.
Not in Utah.
It could be a Colorado City type situation. We don't know. And I'm not saying it is, but you never know. Household income's about average. The housing prices are about average. Things to do here is what we really need to talk about. This is crazy. The Iron County Fair, which I believe we've discussed before.
Have we?
I think we have in another episode. But this year's, I'm looking at the details, and it's something else. Starting off with the Beautiful Baby Contest.
Gross.
That's weird. Yeah. Critters in the Sky is the theme for the 2022 Iron County Fair Beautiful Baby Contest.
Well, what the fuck does that mean?
Adorable babies are plentiful in Iron County. Okay. And if you want to see proof, I don't need proof of that. I'll take your word for it. Proof. Look, show me I want a whole group of adorable babies together.
Yeah, check out the centerfold on this one.
Yeah, look at this one. Visit the Retro Fitness stage at the Iron County Fairgrounds on Saturday, where the Iron County's most beautiful babies will be gathering at 10 a.m. Ugh.
Okay.
If your baby is the cutest around, enter him or her in the annual contest with an entry fee of only $5. The contest is open to babies up to 24 months old. Boys and girls will compete separately, divided into the following age groups: 0 to 6 months, 7 to 12 months, and 13 to 24 months.
How are they going to compete?
You can't compare a newborn to a kid that's a year and a half. This one's got like Teddy Graham crumbs all over his face. You can't compare. So the winners will receive a wagon of their very own to be pulled in the Labor Day parade.
Oh, boy.
So
tell me about critters in the sky.
That's don't
called
know.
Birds, guys.
I guess
what
you're
else
supposed to dress your kids like birds or something, like costumes they put them in.
I got a feeling it's just a bunch of bald eagle.
It's probably, yeah, I think you're right. There's also, and some of this stuff sounds fun and some of it sounds terrible. Let's see here. A demolition derby. That could be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Iron County Fair Got Talent.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't think it does. I'll go out on a limb here and say I think that's a stretch probably. This is a very rural area.
I tend to think that is an unwatchable show.
That sounds awful. Go on. It's a bunch of parents forcing their children to sing. That's what that is. The Little Buckaroo Junior Rodeo.
Oh, no.
Sounds disturbing. There'd be a goring there of a child, I'm sure.
It's actually kind of fun to watch kids get punished by wild.
If it's not your kid, you're like, fuck that kid.
Oh, look at him.
Look at him go.
He's gonna limp a while.
The Miss Iron County Rodeo Pageant. There's several pageants. There's the Miss Iron County Rodeo Pageant. That's your Miss Iron County Rodeo at that point. That's like your, I don't know if that's like a more rugged chick, a chick who wears more leather. I don't know what that is, because then there's also a Miss Iron County. I don't know if she's got to be like, that's more like an evening gown type of affair. I'm not sure.
You got the denim girl and you got the
jeans
lace girl.
And you got that's what I'm thinking too. There's a mud bog.
Okay,
just going to have
that's kind of fun.
Cars in a mud bog. A tractor pull, obviously. If there's a mud bog, you're going to have a tractor pull.
There's a mud bog and a
tractor pull. I mean, come on, Jimmy.
They're basically the same thing, but I guess if you do one with nothing attached to it, that's kind of cool, too.
Cornhole, of course. And then in the entertainment tent, oh, boy, we have Branson Anderson. Beats me.
I hate that it rhymes.
Eric Dodge.
Nope.
My friend Johnny Ford and Charlie Chevy are going to also be there. Eric Dodge. Daryl Magnum.
Yeah.
Along with Ronnie Ruger and Bobby Browning and Sally Sig Sauer is going to be in the mix, I believe. And what the fuck is that?
That is too much.
I'm Eric Dodge. This is Daryl Magnum. We just name ourselves after things we like. See, that's how it works. Johnson Creek is another band. Then the Color County Cloggers, which are a bunch of children who clog.
Well, I call it color. It's a bunch of white kids.
Oh, yeah. They're dressed in green, though. It's weird. There's a 4-H talent show, of course.
Yeah.
And then, closing it all out, I assume, I just hope they're the headliners, the Ukulele Ladies will be there.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah. They're best described through their theme song, which says, "Ukulele ladies, play their ukuleles. We are here to sing for you. Ukulele ladies, play their ukuleles. Do a little hula, too." If you know the song, just sing it right along, for we will sing the old and new. Ukulele ladies play their ukuleles. Having fun is what we do. So
this is the most Utah shit I've ever heard.
So go see the Ukulele Ladies. That said, let's talk about a murder, shall we?
Let's talk about a murder in a town that showcases the whitest of the white shit.
I could talk about that county fair for a month. We could sit here for hours and talk about that. So I got to move on, or else it's going to be all we're going to do.
Oh boy, yeah.
So here we go. Let's go to a murder here. Let's talk about a guy, first of all. Mm-hmm. He's kind of the man to talk about first. Gerald Paul Brown is his name. Okay. Born in 1943. We're going to catch up with him in 76, 77, but we're going to go back and give you a little history on him first here. So he is best described from a newspaper where he's wanted at one point in 1968. Yeah, we'll talk about that. He escapes from prison after being convicted of burglary, forgery, and auto theft. And he's a good guy.
I like him.
He's your kind of guy.
He's fun.
My kind of guy, this guy. Yeah, he's fun. Quote, Brown is about 5'9", weighs 155 pounds, has dark brown hair and hazel eyes. Tattoos include an eagle on a flag and dice labeled titled, quote, Born to Win. When you hear this entire story, the thing that's going to come to mind is not Born to Win. We'll put it that. We have to name this episode. I got to write that. Born to Win. Because it is... Wow. The more of an ironic tattoo has never existed. And on his left arm...
I'm doing all right, and I've got Born to Lose tattooed on the back of my arm.
That's normal. But Born to Win, and then you have this guy's life that we'll discuss, is awesome.
Wanted.
He's also got a cross with a snake on it, and on one, and then Mom on his right arm as well.
He is a walking contradictory, right?
He really
Contradiction.
is. And back then in the 60s, people didn't have, like, visible tattoos unless they were, like, in the Navy for 10 years or something. That you'd have tattoos. Or you were in the Hells Angels. There was... Otherwise, it was like, what the hell did you do? Were you in prison? Like, I don't... What happened? So,
how long do you expect to be in there?
Yeah, Jesus. You didn't think ahead, did you, sir? So, anyway, he's in jail for all this shit. Basically, by the mid-70s, he spent on and off a total of about 10 years of his adult life in prison. Wow. Of his, by the mid-70s, he's like 33, and he spent 10 of those years in jail. So a third of his life, pretty much.
All of his adulthood.
Yeah, pretty much a third of his life in jail. He's been in trouble since he was 14, in and out of juvie. He's a mess, this guy. And he's got one of the grossest and, for small town murder, best quotes in the history of the world coming up later. I mean, it's one of those where you look at it and you go, I have to read that 5 times and make sure it's correct.
Even on its face, it's bad?
Oh, boy, it's wild. So, May 30th, 1968. He's in prison.
Okay.
All right? Mm-hmm. Burglary, forgery, auto theft, other things.
He's been caught for being wanted.
Buggery, you name it. Yeah, he's been, that's when he was wanted. Then he's in prison and he escapes from prison in 1968. Three inmates, him and 2 other inmates escape from Point of the Mountain. It's a Utah state prison. It's a minimum security facility that he's in at this point here.
That's pretty easy.
Guards said the men were last seen at 10:30 p.m. It's Gerald, who's 26 at this point, and a guy named Larry Burt Price, who's 27, and a guy named Harvey Dorton here. Price is serving 1 to 20 years for forgery, and the other guy is serving 5 years for issuing a check with intent to fraud.
1 to 20, what a window.
So that's a lot. They used to give these big sentences. A guy later sentenced to 5 to life, and you're like, that's 5 to life? Unless he's 97 years old, that's a really weird sentence. That could go either way. So, make a stand here. Pick a sentence and give it to him.
I guess that gives them all the opportunity to reform in prison, because if you get to be a functioning member soon, then we'll let you out. But
if it's possible to reform someone in 5 years, then we shouldn't have the word life in there, probably, then, just in case.
You got a good point.
And if it might take life, maybe let's say it should. If it might take life, it should take at least 15 then, right? Or something. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
But either way, these 3 aren't like, it's not 3 violent criminals. None of them have violence in their, and what they're in prison for. It's all forgery and all that kind of shit. So that's at least good here. Price has he has 2 hearts and a ribbon and the name Larry tattooed on his arm. Because his name is Larry,
right.
Which is hilarious.
It just sounds funny, like Larry's in love with another Larry.
I love that Larry. Well, I mean, I'm Larry too. So they were working in as a prison farm is what they were working on. Like, we hear about this all the time with these minimum securities back then. They scaled the chain link and barbed wire fence and took off. 11 o'clock bed check, they weren't there. And so they were looking around for them. They couldn't find them around the facility. Said they must have climbed the fence. That's the only way they could have gotten out. So a week later, they still can't find them. The warden said, quote, this is in the newspaper, I got to think they got like a public relations guy now for this reason. He said, quote, we don't have any idea where they are.
Sir, don't say that.
Oh, Jesus, did he just say we don't have any idea where they are? Say at least we feel like we're closing in. There's a net, something.
You got a couple of leads, anything.
He said they have no identification whether they even left the area or not, or they could be hiding out right around the prison right here. They could be in your yard.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah, that's what they're telling the newspaper. Check behind your bushes. They could be prisoners there.
Could you check your closets, please?
Oh, my God. So clues indicated they crossed a field and Denver and Rio Grande railroad tracks to the west of the prison. So their general direction would have led to the Bluffdale area. A few days later, they say, we think we know where they are. Vegas. Now they're in Vegas, we think.
They're on vacation.
Yeah. They found a shirt that was assigned to Harvey Dorton, one of the inmates, in Vegas, I guess. So they said they found an abandoned pickup truck with this shirt in it, and they fingerprinted it, and it matched to the Dorton guy. So they think that they're in Vegas, but they don't know how long they were there for, when they left, or anything like that. So finally, they are captured weeks later in Wyoming.
Wow, that's a long run.
Yeah, they got all the way around out of there. It's wild. So yeah, they're captured in Wyoming. The warden said they were arrested in like a field area. Basically, they were,
just in a wide open place.
They were like hiding in the bushes, essentially. Yeah. Like they didn't have anywhere to go. They had no resources or anything like that. They must have gotten help.
That's the thing about prison escapes.
It's hard, yeah. So that's June 12th, 1968. So they're gone for 2 whole weeks. That's a lot. Yeah. So by August of 1976, you can kind of project how his life is going. He's in trouble since 14. He's got shit. He wasn't even in jail for that long, and he escaped prison. Like, he's very impulsy, I would say. Yeah. Not a lot of impulse control going on here. So let's head up to August 27th, 1976. We'll meet up with a couple guys here that we're going to meet now. He's hanging out himself. Gerald is hanging out with 2 men, one named Samuel Bingham and another named Stephen Loesch, L-O-S-H, or Losh, or Loesch, whatever.
Gerald's paid his debt to society. He's out of prison.
He's out of prison, yeah, but he's spent, like we said, 10 years of his adult life in prison.
A lot.
So, he's mainly been in prison for his whole life. He's just in and out. So these guys here, they're hanging out. They're in a pickup truck. Samuel Bingham and Gerald Perry are in a pickup truck, and they pick up Stephen Loesch. Okay? They pick him up outside the Caravan Lounge in American Fork, Utah.
Okay.
The Caravan Lounge. Loesch was bleeding from his ear.
Pick that guy up.
So it's a friend of theirs, and they're like, Steve, what up? You know what I mean? You got like a aggressive brain tumor. Did somebody kick your ass? What's going on?
Watch your ear, Creek.
So he said that people beat him up. He got beat up and kicked around, and they were pissed off about it. He got in a fight with a guy named Max Sonny Cordova, who is also,
of course, he's got a nickname.
Yes, Sonny. Sonny's 25, and so they're pissed off, and they're going, hey, let's go find the guys who kicked your ass. That's what we'll do here. Now there's 3 of us. Let's go get revenge. It was 2-on-1. Now it'll be 3-on-2. So now we got the odds. So they do. They eventually, after driving around, shortly after midnight, they pull up in their car behind a pickup truck. It's a white pickup truck, and they block it from being able to exit, this pickup truck. Okay, this is Sonny and Gerald Brown and Stephen Loesch. They block in this truck. Inside the pickup truck is Sonny Cordova, the perpetrator of the ass-kicking, and a guy named Cole Julian, who's 19 years old. They're hanging out.
He wasn't part of it?
I don't think he was part of the ass-kicking, no. I think this is just a later time, because this is a couple hours later, because they had to go drive around looking for them.
Cole's about to catch an ass beating for somebody else.
Yeah, well, he's got to watch out here. So he knew of it. He had heard about it. Julian did, Cole Julian. And apparently when the truck pulled up and stopped, he recognized the car, Cordova did, Sonny, and he said to Cole Julian, quote, get ready for a fight. So...
like right now?
Apparently we're about to throw down here. So apparently at that point, a man approaches the car, and this man who approached the car Cole does not know him. Cole knows Stephen Bingham, and he knows Bingham, and he knows Loesch personally, Samuel Bingham and Stephen Loesch. He knows them personally, but he does not know Gerald Brown. He doesn't know him at all. I want to call him Gerald Perry from Crime and Sports a couple weeks ago. So badly I want to call him that. So he doesn't know Gerald Brown, though. So he doesn't know old Born to Win here.
He's never been to jail?
No. Old Born to Win is the one coming up to the truck. Yeah. So he approaches the truck, Born to Win, And Gerald says, quote, "So you're the dirty motherfucker who beat up my friend." That's his line. That's his opener.
Not bad.
Not bad. You know, you're in for a fight here, so it looks like. So everything kind of went back and forth for a second. And out of nowhere, Bingham says that Loesch was out of the car as well, but he was standing back some. And Gerald was the main instigator here. I guess Bingham then walked over toward the driver's seat of the truck. But at that point, Bingham sees that Gerald has a gun.
Gerald?
So he kind of backs up a little bit, and Bingham goes back into the car. He's like, I don't want any part of this. He gets back in the car.
Got this under control.
So it doesn't need me. So Gerald ends up walking up to the driver's seat of the truck now, gets closer, and shoots Sonny Cordova in the head.
What the fuck?
Just fires it in there once in the head. Doesn't even get an argument out of him. Nothing. Just shoots him in the head. Then he shoots Julian Cole too, who he doesn't know from shit. He's never met him before.
Never met him.
Just shoots this other dude in the car. Wow. Julian threw up his arm to defend himself and got shot there. We'll talk about that. Sonny dies quickly from his wound here.
Son of a bitch.
The bullet went through his shoulder. I'm sorry, the Cole Julian, the bullet entered, it went through his shoulder and pierced his esophagus, and he was in the hospital for over a month after that, getting his esophagus fixed. And we'll talk about Cordova's injuries in a second here. So, later on when he, comes to, Cole Julian will say, I didn't know the third man. I know Bingham and Loesch. I didn't know him. He said that they asked him who shot him, and he said it wasn't Sam Bingham or Stephen Loesch because I know both of them must have been the third man in the car. So, the state medical examiner later on will say that Cordova died of a bullet wound to the head, entered through the left side of his face, and lodged in the back of his head after going through his brain. So,
oh my,
died rather quickly.
Yeah.
So, September 76, there's charges filed for this murder, obviously. Okay. Stephen Loesch is charged with second-degree murder and aggravated assault for being there. Bingham, James Samuel Bingham, he's charged with obstructing justice in connection with the shootings because he didn't, when he was questioned about it, he wouldn't say shit and he actually lied to the cops and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
So, they're both charged in complaints here. Now, the judge, he says, set Mr. Loesch's bail at $20,000 cash or $40,000 property bond, and Bingham has $10,000 cash or $20,000 property bond, okay? A warrant is issued for Gerald Paul, who's on the run. Soon as this murder happened, he takes off, doesn't come back for 2 months.
Okay.
He's gone. So the other two get arrested, brought in. They make bail. Bail is low. They both make bail, and they're both out, Bingham and Loesch, okay? So Brown is charged with second-degree murder with also unlawful force or violence likely to do bodily injury to Julian Cole as well. Mm-hmm. So eventually, 2 months later, he finally surfaces again and turns himself into a Utah Highway Patrol trooper. Okay, so he gets there. He's got a public defender. He's on second-degree murder charges. He's got a criminal record as long as your fucking arm.
Long as it gets, yeah.
He's also known to escape jail and went on the run for 2 months as soon as he did this. So,
known as a pretty big piece of shit.
Not a guy you want to give a low bail to, is what we're saying here. So his bail is set at $20,000 cash or $40,000 property bond, which is nothing. 40,000. That's if someone owns a decent trailer, you can get out. Is what that means.
Quickly. Yeah.
He puts up a $40,000 property bond and is fucking out the same day. So, second-degree murder. He goes on the run for it. Prison for 10 years out of 33.
Yeah.
Born to win, tattooed on his fucking arm. And you're going to go,
sure won.
You know what? We should let him out. I feel like he's going to be a good flight risk. He's going to show up for court, probably not do anything bad while he's out there. So, there was a fugitive warrant for him and all this shit before that. So, anyway, the trial starts for Cordova. Now, Loesch has been subpoenaed to be a witness. They end up dropping the murder charges against him, and basically he makes a deal, but he has to testify. Okay? Somehow he's still hanging out with Gerald Brown, even though I don't understand what's going on
Buy
here.
a beer, I got to tell your story in like a really bad light. Buy you a beer?
Buy a beer? So the 2 star witnesses are going to be Cole Julian, the guy, the survivor who got shot, obviously. He looked in his face. And then it's also going to be Stephen Loesch because he knew about the plan going in. He knew he was standing behind him when it happened. You know, he's a big star witness here. So the trial comes around. It's 9 men and 3 women in the jury. And Loesch doesn't show up for the trial.
What?
Doesn't show up. So they put a warrant out for his arrest because it's, you know, he's subpoenaed. He has to be there. So anyway, this going on. We'll talk about the first day of the trial for a second here. This is Gerald's trial. Now, Gerald, like we say, he's out. So, I mean, he leaves. He goes home at the end of the night after the trial and all that. So the trial's going on here, and there's a guy named James Hampton also testified to the fight that took place earlier with Stephen Loesch and all that.
Precipitated this.
Yeah, they said that Julian and Cordova had warned him at that point, or I'm sorry, Julian had been warned by Cordova, get ready for a fight when Loesch and Gerald pulled up and all that. Cole Julian testified that he was not acquainted with the man who had approached his truck at all. He said, you see, you're the dirty motherfucker who beat up my friend. Didn't know who he was, and then all of a sudden he shot people. He said he tried to put his hand up to ward it off and all that sort of shit. Now, he testified in a preliminary hearing that he never saw the face of the guy who shot him.
Really?
So they asked him about that, and he said, I testified that because I was scared. He described the guy as having a dark beard and a good growth of beard and dark hair. So that would be Mr. Brown at that point. So either way, he identified 2 of the 3 men as being Sam Bingham and Stephen Loesch. He didn't know the guy who shot him, he said, as that goes on. So anyway, Stephen Loesch didn't show up. He's supposed to be there. Where the fuck is Stephen Loesch? Okay? We'll find out about that in a minute. But back to the trial quick, okay?
Stephen.
We'll bang the trial out quick. So
I'm so scared for him.
Samuel Bingham's also got to be a witness here because he was an eyewitness. And he testified at trial that here he said that he told him, Gerald told Bingham, quote, I just headshotted 2 motherfuckers for messing with my brother. That's what he tells him. So he then says that, quotes, then later on he testifies something to the effect of, I shot them both in the head or I headshotted them or something to that effect. So the defense really tries to pick that apart like it's a difference, really, which one he said. So that's a big part of the case. So they called 10 prosecution witnesses. Obviously there's tons of evidence against him, eyewitnesses that were there.
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, women saw him as well. Another guy they called, who was this, Ron Malachi of Orem. He testified that Bingham, who was in the same vehicle as Brown the night of the shooting, had showed them a pistol in which Mr. Bingham carried with him in the vehicle. So they're saying it was Bingham's knows more than he says because it was his goddamn gun.
His gun.
Yeah, he also said that Bingham showed him 2 bullet holes in his vehicle, and he said that Bingham said he'd shot the car himself. Why the fuck would you shoot your own car? Who are you, Richard Pryor? What's going on?
Yeah,
Having a bad night? Yeah. So another one here, Carol Gurney, who is the owner of a pool hall in Pleasant Grove.
Yeah.
She said that Bingham had pawned a similar pistol with her overnight so he could borrow $20 in the past. So several people identify the murder weapon as belonging to Samuel Bingham. Another one, Christine Faye Morton, who was in a truck talking to the victims at the time of the shootings nearby. She identified Gerald Paul Brown as the man who fired the gun. And Terry Lynn Franson, another person, her friend, which is a friend of the first woman here, she said that she didn't see the face of the man who fired the weapon, but the general description fits this guy. There you go.
Okay. It's not good evidence.
It's not great evidence, but the guy who you shot, it's the worst part of it is the guys he came with. Bingham and Loesch are the guys. Now, Bingham testified against him. That looks terrible. Right. But the defense puts the gun in Bingham's hand as it being his gun and everything like that. And Loesch isn't here to back it up.
All they've got is this guy. Yeah, right. All they've got is this guy grows a great beard.
That's
the guy
it.
that did it grew a great beard. That's all we've got?
Yeah, who knows? So the verdict comes in, guilty of second-degree murder.
Holy shit.
Okay. He's sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 5 years to life.
What?
5. He's the 5 to life. Born to win, Jimmy. 5 to life.
He wins like a motherfucker.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So, where the fuck is Stephen Loesch?
I'd love to know.
Gerald's in prison. Well, let's go. We have to go back to the day before the trial to find out, okay? Yeah. April 12th, 1977. Stephen Loesch had been served a subpoena to, obviously, to testify here. Right. So he's supposed to be there the next day. And another one, Luann Ross, was also named as a witness, but she hadn't been served, so she doesn't have to testify till she's served. So to ensure that Luann Ross couldn't be served, the subpoena, Brown decided he was going to hide her, basically.
Okay.
So he hid her. He took her to a trailer located out in Red Creek, which is in the middle of nowhere. And Stephen Loesch also agreed not to testify as well. And he said he'd stay out there at the trailer until the trial was over.
Yeah, keep an eye on her.
And then he'd take whatever consequences came from it, he said. So now on April 12th, 77, we have Gerald Brown, his buddy, his friend, I should say, because his name is Buddy.
His buddy?
His buddy. Buddy Cummer is his name. Kummer. Buddy Cummer.
Yeah.
That is like a redneck porn star. Buddy Cummer, and he wears a trucker hat the whole time. He's the one with the trucker hat, right? Yep, that's right. Buddy
Only
Cummer.
Fuck Whitetail.
That's right. Only Whitetail. And also a guy named Michael O'Neill is involved in this as well. So anyway, Buddy Cummer drives Gerald and Stephen Loesch in Cummer's truck here from American Fork, Utah, out to the Red Creek area.
Okay.
Now, the three...
Luann's already out there?
Luann's already out there.
Okay.
The three of them drank about 2 cases of beer on the way.
Hell yeah.
That's a lot of beer for 3 people to drink.
Ride.
This isn't a 12-hour ride, Jimmy. This is like an hour and a half. They drank 2 cases of beer.
They are hammering it.
That's a lot of beer. Were they shotgunning it? Like they have a fucking...
That sounds like you got a bartender racing.
Yeah, a gravity thing going. Or
they're wearing hats with the fucking 2 beers
in. That's wild. This is all in a car.
Holy shit.
As if that wasn't enough, along the way they also, let's see, Gerald took Proludin. which is an amphetamine. Yeah. It's an upper. He's also drinking whiskey on top of the cases of beer as well.
Dear Lord.
And Stephen Loesch was drinking whiskey, beer, taking Preludin, and also Valium. So he's taking speed and Valium and drinking at the same time, which seems like, let's see what happens. Will I slur my speech? Will I be hyper? Will I be tired? Will it all balance out? And you'll never know.
Are there strobe lights in the cab of this truck? This is the craziest rave I've ever heard on four wheels.
A hillbilly fucking four-wheeled rave going through the plateaus and mesas of Utah.
Jesus Christ.
So at some point along the way, Loesch asks Gerald for more Valium. And apparently that's the line for Gerald. He said, I am not giving you shit. I ain't giving you no more Valium. He said,
2 cases of beer ain't enough to fuck you up.
Whiskey, fucking speed, Valium. He says that I need it for my trial tomorrow. I'm on trial for murder. I got to be on Valium, so I look calm.
I got to be cool, calm, and collected.
So at this point, Loesch started to become pissed off about it. Like, come on, man, I'm fucking staying out here so I don't testify against you. Give me some Valium. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
So according to the other guy here, according to Buddy Cummer, this started to, quote, rub Gerald in a way.
Okay.
Piss him off, apparently. So apparently Cummer says that Loesch tells Gerald that Loesch, I can do 6 months in county jail for contempt of court standing on my head, but that you're going to end up spending 10 years in prison. So can you do that? So he's kind of like fucking with him. You won't give me Valium. I'll start talking about how long you're going to prison for.
This is bad.
So then Loesch asked Gerald here if he would, quote, be a punk for another inmate. So now he's asking, will you be a prison bitch? Which is,
You gonna take it in the ass?
So Gerald's getting angrier and angrier as this goes on here.
Yeah.
And I would say a guy who spent a third of his life in prison isn't the guy to taunt with this type of shit, probably. He's
probably the last fella you want to be. Yeah.
Born to anything is, born to win is a confident statement is all I'm saying. So anyway, they reach the trailer, and Gerald's good and pissed off now. Yeah. They get to the trailer. Luann is there, and also Michael O'Neill, who's another friend of theirs. They're all there. So Luann, Ross, Michael O'Neill, everybody's there. The three of the guys get out of the truck, Buddy Cummer, Gerald, and Stephen Loesch. Now, this is what happens now. Cummer heads to the back of the trailer to take a leak. He said, allegedly. Who knows what he's doing
James,
back there.
You drink 2 cases of beer, you're going to want to piss.
I would think they would have stopped 8-9 times on the way, right? So
yeah, you do 5 miles and have to piss again.
Jesus, I drank 4 beers. I got to piss. My bladder's going to explode. So Loesch goes to the front of the trailer to piss as well. It's a 2-bathroom trailer. It's very nice.
They're outside, James.
That's what I mean. It's a 2-bath. Right. It's a two outside areas to piss trailer.
I mean, it's a 4-sided trailer. There's technically 4 bathrooms.
4 bathrooms, maybe 1 inside. There's 5 bathrooms. This is luxurious. So they do that. Now, Cummer turned around and he bumped into, after he took a leak here, he bumps into Gerald, who's already coming out of the trailer. Apparently, at this point, Gerald said something to Cummer about a hole. Okay?
Yeah.
Quote, something about a hole, which is weird. At this point, Gerald runs over to the truck and grabs Buddy Cummer's gun out of what he called the jockey box, which is the glove compartment.
What?
I don't know where the term jockey box came from, but Buddy Cummer calls a glove compartment a jockey box, buddy. That's all I'll tell you what. It's a goddamn jockey box, buddy. Don't you know nothing?
Well, a glove compartment, that's a very shitty name for it anyway. Nobody ever has gloves in there. Maybe this guy puts a pair of his underpants in there, and that's why it's a jockey box, just in case.
It's a jockey box because it's tiny, like a jockey. That's what I feel like it is.
There's that, and I always got a clean pair of jockeys in there.
I keep them in there just in case, because I shit myself once, twice a week. I'm not going to lie to you. I keep like a fresh 6-pack from the Walmart in there. I just keep them in there. You never know.
My mom told me if I'm ever in a car accident, I hope I'm wearing clean underwears, so I always have a fresh pair of jockeys in the jockey box.
As I'm dying, I'll change them. So he went in the jockey box. Cummer thought that Gerald was coming at him with the gun. So Buddy Cummer said, oh, shit, and he ran into the trailer. And O'Neill was in there. O'Neill was just getting dressed, and Buddy says to O'Neill, stay in the trailer. He said, quote, stay in the trailer because something's coming down. Buddy Cummer, I just want to talk to. He's talking jockey boxes, something's coming down. Yeah. This guy's awesome. Like, I want to hear how he describes everything.
Rubbed it in a certain way.
Yeah. I just rubbed him a certain way. I just want to hear him describe a movie. Just describe a movie you've seen. Yeah. I want to hear how you tell this. I'll tell you what, it made him angrier than a raccoon that got its tail stepped on by a grizzly bear, buddy. I'll tell you what, he got angry.
I want him to describe his favorite meal to me.
Anything.
How it made him feel.
Just anything. So he said, something's coming down. At that point, Buddy Cummer heard 2 shots, okay, 2 gunshots. And then he heard, because it's a trailer, it's thin walls, he heard Loesch out there yelling, quote, don't, Paul, don't, because he's Gerald Paul Brown, his friends call him Paul. And then he heard Loesch's footsteps as he ran around the trailer. That's a thin wall when you can hear people's footsteps outside. That's very thin. Very, very thin. It's a tin wall. So Luann Ross said that she heard Loesch yell while he was running around the trailer saying, quote, no, Paul, don't. I'm with you. Like, hey, it's cool. I'm on the same side. We're on the same team. Then there was 2 more shots fired.
Okay.
Then a pause. And so everyone was like, okay, is it over? And then another shot was fired.
Oh, boy.
So Buddy Cummer looks out the window. Tell you what, buddy, let's see what's going on here. He looks out the window and sees Loesch lying on the ground. He said he was on his right side, and he sees Gerald Paul Brown bending over him with the gun in his hand, like looking over and making sure he was dead. Then Gerald came to the trailer and said to Cummer, quote, come on, bud, we got a grave to dig. Which is a terrifying thing for your friend to tell you.
Yeah.
Come on, bud, we got a grave to dig. Pardon me?
We shit.
I didn't shoot him. I got the gun out of your jockey box, though, so it's your fault, too. You're in on this. So Buddy Cummer said, all right, and shrugged and was like, I guess so. So he went with him to an area behind a sagebrush where the 2 of them began digging a hole.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, they in the wounds for our guy here, that Loesch, is 1 wound at the base of the thumb. So he had his hand up and he got a shot there. A piece of shrapnel was in there. A second bullet entered his body from the back just above the collarbone and was found lodged at the base of the skull.
That's the one that put him down.
Later. A third bullet, which will later be described as the cause of death, is the third one, entered the body through his left temple.
Oh, fuck.
And was found in the right side of his brain. So just wiped it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to digging the hole.
Mm-hmm.
As they were digging, somehow they're digging and Luann's like hanging out, like cheering them on. She's like Sandy at Thunder Road. She's just sitting on the side going,
go team go.
Go team go. So they're up there, and while they're digging, apparently Gerald turns to Luann and says, how fast can you run, Luann? Terrifying. Then he said, quote, are there any more shells? To Buddy Cummer. Cummer said there's no more shells for the gun.
Yeah.
So Gerald said, quote, it's just as well then this way. I guess we won't kill Luann too.
Jesus
Christ, she's been subpoenaed. We already got a hole dug. I mean, we might as well kill whoever we have to and put him in this hole. So before the grave was finished, Gerald goes back to the trailer, and O'Neill came out and helped Buddy Cummer finish the grave. He didn't even hang out for the whole grave digging, this guy. He had his friends dig the grave for him. What a lazy fuck. You're a lazy shit, man. Born to win my ass. So all 3 of them then helped carry and drag the body to the grave. They threw it in there, covered it with dirt and rocks and dead wood and all sorts of shit that they could. They go back to the trailer, and he makes Luann cook hamburgers.
He really is born to win. He's winning his ass off.
It gets better, Jimmy. This line coming up here is the cherry on the Born to Win Sunday right here, okay?
I hope he told him, tattoo says born to win, not born to dig. Y'all get this finished.
No. So they get in there. They're eating hamburgers. He sits down. He's eating hamburgers. While he's eating hamburgers, he says about Loesch, quote, he was a hard-dying motherfucker, boy. Apparently, it took him a while there. Then he asks everybody else to leave, and he asks Luann Ross to stay in the trailer with him because and I quote, quote,
oh boy,
nothing makes me hornier than killing a man.
Oh, God, Jesus, what?
Nothing makes me hornier than killing a man. I don't know how you...
He's such a pirate.
He's a fucking monster. What the fuck? This guy is out of his fucking mind. So
Luann's now got to put up with this?
Well, I guess, I had to, bad enough I had to dig a grave and cook hamburgers. Now I got to fuck this idiot too.
Endure. Oh my God.
It's sort of his girlfriend, but still, I don't think she's voluntary. I think this is long past voluntary at this point. She's she's being sequestered in a trailer in the middle of nowhere, digging graves, making hamburgers, fucking weirdos.
This is slavery and then rape.
Oh, this is terrible. So then Buddy Cummer's girlfriend, all these people have girlfriends.
Wow.
Someone's going out with Buddy Cummer. Her name is Janet Bazant, Bezzant, double Z.
Yeah.
Janet Bazant, she says here that Gerald then told her the next day that after Loesch fell down, he told her, I put the gun right up to his head and fired.
Oh,
so explain that. So this is pretty fucking interesting. So now, like we said, the trial takes place. He's convicted. The trial's only a week long with the sentencing and everything. He's convicted, sent away, 5 to life. They still don't know where Stephen Loesch is. They think he's just escaping a subpoena. Until May of 1977, when a tip comes in, I'm going to say from one of the 5 people participating in this.
I hope it was Luann.
There's chicks involved. There's dudes named Buddy. Like, anything's possible. You know what I mean? Anyone's could tell on him. So they find Loesch here. It's a 3-foot deep grave in a haystack yard area of the Oliver Sager Ranch. It's 4 miles east of Fruitland, and it's 4 miles south of the US 40. It's in the Red Creek area. That's why we say it's in this area. So it's about 90 miles east of Salt Lake City, like we said earlier. And they said one of the leads investigated was there was a recently occupied trailer on that ranch. They found the trailer. They were looking into that, and it turns out the body's pretty close to the trailer. So they dig him up. Like I said, he's been there a month. And it was in a hot time as well.
Jesus.
So the body, they realize it's Stephen only by his dental records. He's
there's not a lot left.
Decomposed terribly. They said other than the 3 gunshot wounds and where they were found, he was in such a state of decay they couldn't even tell what range the shots were fired. So there's no like skin to have a powder burn or anything like that. So, so 3 people are arraigned here. They arraign Gerald Paul Brown. They also, who's already in prison, they also arraign old Buddy Cummer and Michael O'Neill as well.
Really?
Yeah, they're all charged with murder. They charge everybody. Now, they're just trying to get the other 2 to flip against him, obviously. So that's what ends up happening. They end up testifying against him and get their charges dropped to like obstruction of justice and shit like that.
Right.
So they drop against the first 2, and they're just charged with, what are they charged? Yeah, just obstruction, I think, is what it is. So here we go. The Loesch trial comes around. Buddy Cummer testifies that it's his .22 caliber pistol. Took it out my jockey box.
Yeah.
And he told them that after the killing that Brown had bragged that he killed Loesch with Cummer's gun, and that Cummer, if he wanted him to, Cummer's going to, quote, have to take the rap for it. That's what he said, which you might, if it was just the 2 of them out there, you might believe maybe Buddy Cummer did it. But the fact,
be able to tag him with it,
the fact that there's so many other witnesses, and he said the words, nothing makes me hornier than killing a man.
Yeah, that's enough to make your skin crawl.
It's tough. Yeah, it's very tough. So anyway, Buddy Cummer and Michael O'Neill are sentenced to up to 5 years in Utah State Prison for obstruction of justice, though. Failure to come forward with knowledge they had regarding a murder, even when they were asked. Cummer ends up getting put on probation for 30 months, though. So that's how that works. They both get probation. So Brown has a shrink here, a psychiatrist, testify for him. And he said that it's all good, guys. I know it looks bad, but Gerald really had no responsibility for his actions. He said he had no sleep for 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
During which time he had taken the speed, he took Valium, he's drinking whiskey. He said a ton of whiskey, a ton of beer, and the amphetamines the day that the day that this happened. He said, forget about it. They also brought up his history of stuttering as a child, which I don't know what that has to do. He sure said, nothing makes me hornier than killing a man, pretty clearly. So his history of stuttering as a child and his inability to express his emotions adequately will obviously make you kill lots of people. And the pressures of the upcoming trial as well. He said that the defendant here, he said it wasn't premeditated. This was a rage reaction. He could not have formed the requisite intent to kill for this. It was just a reaction. He
told the dude to dig a hole before he did this.
He said, we're going to have to dig a hole. And then he went and did it. And then he bragged about it. And then he ate a hamburger afterwards.
And then
he banged some chick. Like, this is wild. So Brown himself, he says he went into the trailer. He saw through the windows that Loesch had picked up a piece of firewood, which he described as a club. So this was like a showdown that was going to go down. He said
a gun in a club.
A gun in a club. Well, he said at this point he didn't have the gun. He said that he was apprehensive that Loesch was going to try to harm him because usually the person who's going to testify against the bad person, they're the aggressor, not the person who doesn't want that person to testify.
And the purpose of being out here is for Loesch to hide so that you can get away with murder.
Yes, and then he can do contempt time for you.
Right.
So, yeah.
He's doing you a favor.
I would say so. So he said at this point, Brown said he took the gun to defend himself. That's all it was. And when he accosted Loesch with the weapon, Loesch took a step toward him, but he didn't raise the club. He said, but at that point, he blacked out and he doesn't remember anything at all. He said he remembers Loesch starts coming toward me. Next thing you know, I'm standing over him with a gun in my hand. I don't know what's going on. You know how that goes here. He said then later on he testifies in court the next day that he thinks the first shot, though, he doesn't remember the whole shooting, but the first shot he knows was a warning shot. That was the thing. He was like, you have a club, I have a gun, bang, warning shot. You know what I mean? So he said that Loesch had gone nuts and threatened everybody with the club. He was a dangerous man here. He said, so I don't know what to tell you. I was out there and I must have killed him, I guess, with the .22, but I don't think I did. I just remember firing.
Dangerous man on earth if he hears a warning shot and then says, I'm going to beat all of you to death.
Well, the warning shot was because he was threatening to beat everyone to death. I don't care if there's more of you and one of you has a gun. I'm going to beat you all to death.
with wood.
Then everybody testified as to what they saw. Oh, no, I saw him shoot him. He bragged about it. He, ate a hamburger afterwards. Everything you can fucking imagine. It made him horny. You know it here. So he said his argument, basically, Brown, is he did not kill Loesch for the purpose of preventing him from testifying, because that would be premeditated murder that is up for the death penalty. He said, what I did, I was in a rage because he called me names and said I was going to be a punk in prison. That was what it was. That's why I killed him. It had nothing to do with
prison rape, and that's what did it.
That's what did it. So, it's totally fine. So the verdict comes in, shockingly, guilty of first-degree murder, not surprisingly. Yeah. You can't shoot in front of people, then make them dig the hole, and then be like, it was an accident.
Self-defense.
So during sentencing, a written psychiatric evaluation here, basically, this is the same guy who examined him. Yeah, they also have testimony from a guy named Guy Moore. His buddy Cummer, a guy named Guy Moore. He's a friend of his.
Very vague names.
Very vague. Sound like aliases, don't they?
Yeah.
He said that he's never seen Gerald Brown commit an act of violence, and that it's his opinion that he wasn't even capable of premeditated murder. He's just not that kind of guy. He's a nice guy. The testimony of his ex-wife, Phyllis Wilson Brown, said that he's a good influence on her 2 children from a previous marriage. He was a great stepdad. And he's even a great father and a nice influence on their child that they had together. This man has a child, Jimmy. Think about that. Luckily, he has a common last name and can blend in because, wow. Yeah. So they said, please send him to prison for life. Don't give him the death penalty. We want his children to be able to visit and we want him to be an influence on people, in their future. So they say, you, sir, may fuck off. Death penalty for you. Yeah. I think it sounds cumulative. It's like this is just getting worse and worse here. So
it's too much.
It's a lot. So he's the first person sentenced to die in Utah since the legislature amended the death penalty law to require an automatic appeal, which was a thing here. I think Gary Gilmore was the first in Utah before that, because in all his appeals, they keep bringing up Gary Gilmore and that the same thing. So 1980, he appeals based on bad jury instructions and a couple other things here. A couple things with the jury, and most of his appeal was bullshit, but the jury instructions are very specific. And if a word is off or something's off, the court asked each juror the following question beforehand, too. Do you have any reason to believe you can't listen to the evidence here in court and the law as I give it to you, and based solely on that evidence and the law and nothing else, render a fair and just verdict between the parties? So any implications that the jurors must render a verdict of death in every case in which a verdict of guilty is determined, as was the impression found to have been made by the court. So basically, they didn't tell the jurors ahead of time enough that you were going to be deciding a death penalty case is how they decided. So they say, never mind, no death penalty. You, sir, may fuck off, life in prison. Okay.
Without? Yeah.
Life without. So he's going to prison forever. There's that. He's already got another life sentence, and now he's going for this one.
Okay.
So the crazy part is, and it's going to be consecutively run too as well.
Oh, boy.
In other words, they don't want him out, is what it sounds like. That's consecutive with his other sentence. So that's a commutation. So he's in prison for 10 years after that. You figure just rotting away, doing his appeals, too, trying to get his shit delayed and all that.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Then in 1990, he and 2 other men are found to be missing from the prison.
Oh, my God. I didn't expect that.
And a maintenance truck is found stolen. He escaped from prison, Jimmy. They hid in a secret compartment built on the prison maintenance truck, and a
jockey box.
Jockey box. That's why it would be called a jockey box. It's tiny, and the only thing you can fit in it's a jockey.
Oh my God!
Someone who's willing to curl up real tight because they're escaping prison.
This is in the 80s.
This is 1990.
Oh my God!
Some maintenance worker just drove the truck out of the secure compound and. Yeah. That's it. First of all, he's also in a medium security prison. He's in jail for 2 murders. Why is he not?
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's maximum. I don't care how nice of a guy he is.
He should be Hannibal Lectered up for what he's done.
Plus, he escapes and runs away. So they say that they think one of the guys built the hidden compartment on the truck because he was a maintenance worker inside the prison. So they think in his spare time he was building a box in the bottom, and Gerald got himself in this too. So the search originally centers in the American Fork Canyon, and then later that afternoon they found the utility truck abandoned there.
Yeah.
So state troopers, they sealed everything off to all this terrain. They focused on the Provo Canyon. They're looking all over. There's cabins in an area above Sundance that were all evacuated out because there could be dangerous, murderous prisoners on the loose. It gets to be this huge thing. They said that the operations were difficult because of the numerous radio frequencies involved, because of the mountainous terrain. They were having trouble communicating with each other. So they keep looking around. Apparently, at one point here, the prisoners encounter who is this guy? He's like the head of the campsite at this place. They encounter him. What the hell? I can't find his name here, but he's the host. There you go, the camp host. Thank you. That the host was the word I was looking for, but I've never been camping, so I just remember reading host. So they encounter the host. The host says, hey, you guys look like escaped prisoners. Stop right there.
Nice stripes.
So they start bucking shots at him.
They have guns.
They have a gun, Jimmy. They have a fucking a nickel-plated .38 caliber in their possession.
What the fuck is happening?
Bucking shots off. One of the guys, the George guy who built the escape hatch there, the jockey box, he's in jail for a long time because he had previously escaped in 1985 and went on a huge violent robbery spree, apparently. So the operation moved to the Aspen campground about 10:30 a.m. That's not Aspen, Colorado. That's still this area. After an unconfirmed sighting there. And they said that several shots had been heard, and that was the host of the campground being fired on. So 50 law enforcement officers from 6 agencies kind of swarm in on this. They said that Brown grew up in Pleasant Grove and knows the canyon, quote, like the back of his hand. So
that's scary.
He's been negotiating. They found some guy who knows the area and said if he knew where to go through the ridges, he could have escaped from where you guys were to begin with. Yeah. So it's fucking nuts. So anyway, they were stopped. They fired the gun. The host then fired 6 shots back at him.
Of course, those guys are dangerous.
Well, yeah, there's bears around and shit. They got to be armed. So they're exchanging gunfire back and forth, which I don't know if you've ever heard gunfire in a canyon, but you can hear that for 100 miles. It'll echo. So if you hear a dozen shots exchanged, you're going to go, what the fuck is going on? Especially from a 38's got a pop to it, too. That's not a... It's not a 22.
Hand cannon,
no one's mistaking that for firecrackers, you know. So, anyway, they broke into some nearby cabins. The prisoners did, and they end up finally being caught lying in tall grass and oak brush about 50 feet apart, 200 feet from the theater in the Pines, located in Mount Tipanagos campground, about 2 miles north of Sundance. So
horrifying,
Sundance, where they have that very
prestigious
floofy
film
festival there. So they said there was no resistance. They were both pretty tired, just as we were tired, and they probably wanted a warm meal as well. They were ready to give up. They were like, fuck it. So they said,
the guy at the campground that lives there is the last guy you want to fuck with. That's a retired guy who just wants relaxation, and he's armed.
And he fights off wild animals on the daily. That guy encounters grizzly bears on a regular basis, and wolves and cougars and shit. Don't fuck with that guy.
Never.
So they asked the sheriff guy about it, and he said, quote, it's a hell of a lot better to find them than to lose them. Well, no shit.
Well done, sir.
They said, we were sure that if they got into a cabin tonight, they would have access to television and they would have been able to see our progress and know to run, basically. So they didn't want that. So they shackled them and brought them back, bring them back in. They were both wearing faded shirts, jeans, and worn shoes and appeared to be exhausted and unsure, unsteady on their feet as well. So they're hit with extra charges as well. Obviously, they're hit with escape charges and all that sort of thing, and they have a gun. So there's also robbery charges and burglary, not robbery charges. So he's got all sorts of more charges on him there. So he gets back in his cell. They put him in. Yeah, they catch him, and about 3 a.m. they discover him hanged in his cell with strips of bed sheet about 3 a.m.
Stop it.
That's it. He couldn't get away. He hung himself. Hanged himself up. Yep. Strung himself up. And
wow.
Yep. They said there was no reason to believe he was suicidal. They interviewed him, made no suicidal comments, acted like he was fine, like normal, and he wasn't. Hanging himself in his cell.
What part of 2 life sentences and then escapes makes you think that he's not willing to risk it all?
He doesn't want to be there, clearly.
No, he's going to kill himself.
He left a suicide note. Yeah. They found 2 notes. In one note to his mother, he said that he would, quote, rather be dead than spend the rest of my life here. As you know, I tried my best to get away, and that didn't work, so I've chosen to take this way out. I think he fucking summed it up pretty goddamn well there. So, yeah, he was buried in... He's buried, where's the Pleasant Grove, Utah City Cemetery, and he was 47 years old. September 9th, 1990, he's dead. So there you go.
Holy shit.
That is rural Utah, Red Creek, wherever the fuck it was. and a hell of a wild story, I gotta say.
His life gives me so much anxiety.
It's so much. It's escape from jail, be wanted for this, kill your friend, dig a hole, eat a hamburger, get horny. It's just a lot going on. Shooting at camp posts.
Yeah.
Wow, 10 pounds of lightning in a half-pound Ziploc is what that is. In a dime bag is what we just did there. That's a lot. So...
Oh, wow.
There you go. If you like that, tell the world. Give us a review. 5 stars. Shutupandgivememurder.com. San Francisco, August 12th. 2 shows at Cobb's. Yeah. Different shows. September 10th, the Paps in Milwaukee. Patreon.com/crime and sports. This week, John Rocker for Crime and Sports. Skidmore, Missouri. Whole town that doesn't give a shit that a public murder happened. Wild story. Hear it all right there and get a shout out on the regular show. That said, thank you very much, everybody. Until next week. It's been our pleasure.
Pull it into the station. Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus